Hey there, friends. Remember the term we have to pass the bill so that we can read it to find out what's in it? Looks like Tennessee is trying to do the same thing. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee announced that he will call for the Tennessee General Assembly to convene a special legislative session on August 21st, that's next week, to strengthen, quote, public safety and preserve constitutional rights. Anytime a public official, especially a politician, says they're going to do anything to preserve constitutional rights, don't believe them. They say that because they're trying to tell you that they're not going to violate your constitutional rights, and they think, because a lot of the American public is stupid, that people will go, well, no, there's no way. Even though this law reads that it's going to violate my constitutional rights, the governor said that he's trying to strengthen my constitutional rights. It's a lie. It's like Joe Biden saying, believe me, or Joe Biden saying, I'm not lying to you. Whenever they have to disclose that in order to tell you something, they're absolutely doing that. Now, so far, the bills that they're talking about, and again, this is so far because the special session will certainly produce additional bills, but so far, all of them are pretty much leaned towards, get this, being illegal to somehow create, carry out, or threaten a mass casualty event or a mass shooting. Unless Tennesseans are that stupid and you don't have a law already saying that it's illegal to murder a bunch of people in a school, I don't know what you intend to accomplish with your special session. The reason why I don't believe you and don't trust you is because so many times you people take advantage of situations like this, like emotion, because you know you have to act now, because by next year the emotion is going to slowly wane away a little bit. You're going to, at this point, try to force it through based on emotion. What I mean by that is gun control. We know that's what it is. You had a couple of you little peons go to the White House to talk about gun control immediately after the transgender person shot up Nashville. So we know that's what's going to happen. There's going to be some last-minute gun control that's going to get pushed through, again, based on emotion. Probably going to bring some of the parents of the kids in to boo-hoo a little bit and talk about that. My heart goes out to the families, but you still don't have the right to try to take mine or anybody else's constitutional rights away because you're sad. So look for Tennessee to try to strip away people in the state's constitutional rights, because that's absolutely what they're going to do. And I'd also like to point this out. The reason why I said we have to pass the bill before we can see what's in it, you notice the Nashville Manifesto from the transgender shooter is still not out? You notice that it's not out? Is there anybody out there that suspects besides me that the timing of this is just a little bit suspect? In other words, they're going to want to pass bills and laws in the state of Tennessee on the backs of the emotion of a Nashville transgender shooter, but they don't want you to know any of the facts that led up to why this person did that. We don't know what it is. Maybe this person got beat up by somebody at the school. Maybe they got raped, molested. Maybe they had a bunch of money stolen from them. You know what I mean? I'm not saying any of this is justification for what this person did. What I'm telling you is there's other things that probably precipitated this. And by us not knowing that is essentially promoting a lie, because there is no ongoing investigation. The person is dead who carried out this heinous crime. You're not investigating anything. The only thing I can suspect based on, they have read the manifesto, by the way. The only thing that I can guess that it might be is that the manifesto actually exposes other crimes that they may be investigating. It's very possible that that's the investigation that they're alluding to. They're just not telling us that it's an additional investigation. In other words, if somebody in this church molested or raped this girl who thought she was a boy before she shot up this school, then that's exposing an additional crime out there that they may now have to be further investigating. And if that's the case, I understand not wanting to release it, but you say that's why you're doing that. You don't just say it's an ongoing investigation, because it looks like and appears that you are very much lying about that. And another thing that I would like to point out, because we have this crazy far-left wacko defense of the mentally unstable transgendered people out there. Well, if you're in such support of transgender people, and if you support this shooter, like you do, remember they were holding up 7 fingers, 6 people were killed, they were holding up 7 in the state assembly, or the state house rather, because they were including the shooter in with the quote victims. So if you wackos on the far left are in that much in agreement that you need to protect your trans people out there, shouldn't you want to protect the trans shooter's First Amendment rights? Because clearly this trans shooter wrote a very lengthy manifesto with the intention of people seeing it, the intention of people reading it. The full intent of this diatribe that this person put down on paper was so that somebody read it. Otherwise, why do it? So you're violating this person's First Amendment rights by suppressing it and not letting it be seen, if we're being honest with ourselves. So I'm going to go back to what I always say. If we're going to pass more laws that make it more illegal to kill people, oh, now it's twice as illegal. Now you can get twice as many years in jail. It's still illegal. It's illegal, right? We don't need new laws telling us it's more illegaler. But if we're going to pass these new laws on the back of a trans shooting and put all the blame on guns, because now they're going to want to limit guns, they're going to blame all that. That's what you're going to see sneak through. And never address the fact that we have a mentally unstable person that's being celebrated. Less than 0.5% of the American public are, quote, transgendered. Yet we've already had 4 or 5, quote, transgender shooters this year alone. You realize how disproportionately they are represented in the pool of, quote, mass shooters out there? When do we acknowledge that hyperdosing a female with male hormones is not a good thing? It might create some emotional side effects that were not, some unintended consequences that we really didn't want. Let me try to bring a little bit of clarity to this situation and why the media and the wackos on the far left are doing such a disservice to my fellow human beings. I mean transgender people. Do you think I like seeing 40% of them try to commit suicide? No, I'm not begging for that. I think that that's perpetuated, that's pushed by the media and everybody else who won't help them with their problems. If we have a person with schizophrenia that walks into a room and it's just you and it's just them, and they tell you, I hear all these voices, do you hear them? What are you going to tell them? Is the right thing to do to tell them, yeah man, I hear them too, just to make them feel better about it? Or do you think maybe I need to get them help? They need treatment, they need medication, they need things to treat their mental illness. That's how you would help, and it's the right thing to do. That's how you would help a schizophrenic person. If a person goes into that same room and tells you, and they have meat hanging down between their legs, if they tell you, I'm a woman, and you can clearly see that ain't a woman, do you tell them, I agree, you are a woman? Or should you seek to get them help for the same mental condition that you would have sought for that schizophrenic person? If you answer those two differently, you may be the one with the mental problem. I want to repeat that 40% of transgender people have attempted suicide, not contemplated suicide, not thought about suicide. There's a difference. People panic when they hear 40% of people contemplate suicide. Heck, depression numbers are not that high. And the general public and the media are doing nothing to help these people. Do you realize these people may very well indirectly be coming out as a cry for help when they tell you these things? Yet you pat them on the back and celebrate them? That's probably not the reaction that they wanted. And let me explain another thing to you. I want to make this point because I've thought a lot about this. I am guided by fairness in my life. I care for other people. But I can't tolerate stupidity. I simply can't. It bugs me. It eats away at me. But when it comes to our children, our kids, and we see this push by the media, and we see this push by the wackos on the far left, to allow kids, before they truly know what their favorite color is, to start picking and choosing their own sex, I want to put this one little bug in your brain. I want you to think about this. If we allow a 14-year-old boy to permanently decide what his new gender is going to be and start transitioning to be a girl, I'm talking about chemically and I'm talking about surgically. If we allow them to do that, a permanent change has been made that they can never undo. They can never undo that. So let's say that was a phase that person was going through, that boy was going through. Well, now they can't undo that. What if he was wrong? What if that was just a phase? Where on the other hand, if we don't allow that boy to surgically and chemically become a girl, and let's say we were wrong about his intentions, and that truly is the direction he needed to go in, well, at least he has a chance later in life to do what he wanted to do. In other words, if we were wrong, this guy gets a do-over. He can become the girl that he wanted to become. But if he was wrong, and the wackos on the far left are wrong, this kid doesn't have a second chance to right that wrong. He is stuck like that because you have chemically and surgically altered that child. I want to mention this real quick. This video right here, if you guys would share it, I can promise you it may get taken down. But there's a very good chance that by the time it even gets live to you all, it's going to be demonetized. And I'm going to be very straight with you guys. I don't care. YouTube, I don't work for YouTube. YouTube does not dictate what I do. I don't answer to YouTube. I don't trade my silence for money from YouTube. So while this video may be demonetized, my intent is not to make money off of it. My intent is to get the word out. But here's the announcement that I have to make. Since Nashville has no reason to withhold this manifesto other than what they're trying to hide that they don't want us to see. Again, straight people are not the ones attacking trans people. Trans people are either killing themselves, like personally, suicide, or they're committing crimes against each other. They're doing all the damage on their own. This is not, there is no spike in neurotypically normal, non-trans people attacking trans people. That's not happening. That is not happening. Now, you may have people saying smart things online and on social media because all this stuff like the whole Bud Light fiasco is getting jammed down everybody's throat. Don't mistake somebody saying something about the Bud Light stuff or whichever for being violence against these people. They are committing the violence against themselves. There is no spike outside of their own little bubble. But there is clearly something being hidden, and for very obvious reasons. I truly believe this manifesto has so much in there that nobody wants to see the light of day because it's going to reveal the true nature of what's inside these people's minds, and they simply don't want that to happen. So this is what I'm going to do. I am pledging $5,000 of my money, my own money. I will write a check from my Legally Armed America checkbook to anybody that gets a legitimate leaked copy of the manifesto to me. $5,000, you want it in cash? I'll give it to you in cash. I won't even 1099 you. I just give it to you. I'll give it to you in pennies. I'll give it to you in a money order. I don't care how you want it. If you can get me a legitimate copy, non-redacted, I don't want a redacted copy, a legitimate copy of this manifesto, the notes and everything, I will write you a check or give you cash, cashier's check, money order, however you want it, of $5,000 of my money. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. The American public deserves to see this manifesto. They deserve to see this. And the more a government, whether it's local or federal, tries to hide a particular document or facts about a particular instance, the more I'm suspecting that something is not right. They are hiding something for a very, very good reason. Their very good reason, not a legitimate reason. So again, I'm offering a $5,000, you call it whatever you want, bounty, reward, whatever you want, to get me a copy of this Nashville Shooters Manifesto. No questions asked. I don't want to know, and I don't need to know how you got it. Don't care. Don't care. I just want it in my hands, and when I get it in my hands, that transfer of $5,000 will go straight to you however you want it.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
He's so horrible.